So maybe we'll start with some introductions. My name is Amit Shah. I run the US for VTEX. We are a digital commerce platform. We power about 2,500 enterprise businesses around the world, including Sony, Samsung, Levi's, Whirlpool, and our friends here at AB InBev. With that, France?
Yeah, my name is France Roy. I'm the CTO of the direct-to-consumer division at AB InBev. I run all of our, basically anywhere we sell. So AB InBev, if you don't know, is brands like Budweiser, Stella Artois. Anywhere we sell direct-to-consumer, which is mostly outside of the US, I run all the technology and platforms for. So think of, if you want, one of our biggest ones, courier delivery. If you want to get cold beer delivered to you in 30 minutes, we have an app that or a website you can go on, order beer, and have it brought right to you.
And France is skipping ahead. Our session today is called Non-Traditional Retail. So maybe we'll start with that question of, for AB InBev, which makes, so many of the world's most famous beer brands, what was traditional retail, and, why are you now breaking out of that mold?
Yeah. So traditionally, the company doesn't go direct to consumer. We use, especially in the US with the 3-tier distribution system, we use a lot of wholesalers. So still in the US, we don't go direct to consumer in the way we can in other parts of the world. So mostly we sell through retailers, like, you go to buy some beer at the corner shop. We have sales reps that sell into that. So we're mostly business to business, and then those businesses are selling to the consumer. So that's the traditional model that the company has built throughout the world.
Got it. And are some of those restrictions because of the old laws from Prohibition times, that as a beer brand or a liquor brand, you cannot deliver directly to or sell directly to the customer in the US?
Yeah, exactly. The 3-tier system basically says the brewer can't go, needs to go through the wholesaler, then to the consumer. So actually in the US, the only place we can sell directly to a consumer is from our brew pubs, where we actually brew the beer on site and then can sell there. Otherwise, it's through a wholesaler. Now, this just applies to the US. So internationally, we've had a lot more success going direct to consumer, especially in Latin America, Brazil, Mexico, and then in Europe as well, where we can test out different models and try selling to consumers in different ways, which we started about 6 years ago and have had incredible success doing since.
Got it. So if you live in America, you're not going to get cold beer in 20 minutes, but basically anywhere else in the world, you guys can kind of make that happen?
Exactly, yeah. In America, you can do it, but through partners that aren't brewers directly. So like, something like Postmates, you can have them pick it up for you, or companies like Drizzly, where they will, partner with a bunch of locations and then send the order to them, and then the location will actually deliver it to you.
Got it. And, we've heard this word D2C, direct to consumer. What was the genesis for you guys to go direct to consumer, and why start so early?
Yeah, so this happened about 6 years ago. AB InBev started a division called ZX Ventures, which was focused on new areas of growth for the company. And one of those was very obvious that was going to change was e-commerce. So we started 6 years ago, not having any clue what we were going to do, just a rough idea. We need to figure out how to go direct to consumer. So we started some e-stores in a few countries in Latin America. We then expanded by making some acquisitions in Europe. So it was really recognizing the trends of, consumers, big companies, like if you look at companies like Nike, were going direct to consumer. And we were getting cut out more and more. And we didn't have, consumer data, connections with consumers, and realized in the future that's something that's incredibly important. Got
it. And can you disclose today, how much revenue you're doing direct to consumer around the world?
Yeah, so the overall company in 2020's revenue was 46 billion, and then the last public detail on the direct-to-consumer side is around $1 billion, which basically, 6 years ago started from almost nothing. So incredible growth, and the growth isn't as big as 0 to $1 billion in the future, but it's continuing at a very high growth base.
Got it. And I think you have a new CEO. Is he given a new goal or a new target of, what's the next number you want to reach?
Yeah. So it's definitely like one of the top two priorities of the company. The other one being like the digitalization of our connection with our B2B businesses. So really the top two priorities with the company are B2B transformation. How do we make sales reps, replace sales reps in the traditional model with more digitally savvy capabilities, and then D2C. How do we get more connections direct to consumer? And the goal of direct to consumer, basically over the next 3 years, is to triple the size of it.
Got it. And today, if you were a standalone company doing $1 billion of direct to consumer e-commerce revenue, you'd probably be worth, I don't know, 20 or 50 billion dollars, right?
Yeah, exactly. We have one of our most successful businesses. It was basically we started it from scratch 5 years ago. It's called Zé Delivery in Brazil, and that on its own. Well, we went from in 2019 before the pandemic doing 1 million orders an entire year to during the pandemic doing 1 million orders a week. So we basically within the company, if you look at it from that point of view, have a unicorn just in that business.
Got it. And that Zed delivery business, just for the people in this room who don't know exactly the consumer experience you deliver, can you describe that in a little bit of detail?
Yeah, so Zay Delivery was a consumer need that we saw before the pandemic. And it's a trend that's been happening in Latin America. If you're familiar with, in the US, companies like Postmates, Instacart, same trend, like convenience, basically. People at home wanting to get products brought to them. So there was a lot of players in this space like Rappi. If you've ever been to Latin America, you can order Rappi and they will bring you anything. They'll bring you cash, they'll bring you an egg, anything you want brought to you. And so we saw this trend popping up and we realized for beer specifically, it was a bad experience. Most retailers, they'll have beer, just warm beer sitting on the shelf and they'll just bring you beer. Whereas with Zay Delivery, we completely control it. We partner with third parties and have our own dark stores we deliver from. And we basically, make sure your beer is cold. We get it to you at grocery store prices and we get it to you in 30 minutes. So that convenience it basically created there was a consumer demand there, and we were able to see that and slowly build to that, and luckily be in a place that when the pandemic hit and that consumer need skyrocketed, all of a sudden you see our business skyrocket with it.
Got it. And the original Zed delivery platform, did you build that on your own? Did you use a third party?
So the original Zay delivery platform we custom built. There was nothing at the time that we felt like met the need. Something we could white label, and we really saw it was an opportunity to build a very large business throughout Brazil. So we built from scratch, and you see these like overnight successes, like I was saying, going to 1 million orders a year to 1 million orders a week is a dramatic increase, but that took years to get there, right? Like we spent years optimizing our consumer platform so that the mobile apps, were the best experience for the mobile for consumers. And there's other pieces of the platform like the Delivery Man app. So, someone who's bringing your order, they have an Android app, and also the location we deliver from, the wholesaler, has an app, admin interface for managing their inventory, seeing their orders. So we spent years optimizing all of these to build a business that we could then scale up in a situation like this.
Got it. And now this Zed delivery model of basically cold beer to the customer super quick, are you only doing that in Brazil, or have you started branching out to other parts of the world?
Yeah, so that's where our relationship with VTEX comes in. So given the success we saw in early in the pandemic, we decided, okay, we've got a gold mine here with Brazil. How do we then expand this to other countries internationally? So the plan became launch other countries. And if you've ever worked on a tech platform custom built, building it for multi-tenant, multi-country capabilities is not an easy challenge. So like multiple locations, multiple payment gateways, multiple currencies, all these multi-features, we would have had to take the Zay platform, which was built specifically, in Portuguese for Brazil, for that business use case we had there. So to internationalize that was at least a 6-month project for us. So we looked at that point at the various marketplace products and how can we, in e-commerce products, and say, how can we launch all these countries. We're live now. Fast forwarding, skip ahead. Then at this point, we're live in 10 countries, with 7 of them powered by VTEX. And that happened basically in a month. We were able to launch the first country, and speed to market was incredibly important for us. As I said, in Latin America, there's a lot of competitors like Rappi, like iFood, who are coming hot in this market. They have venture money, so they are moving fast and burning cash to get consumers. So we knew we had to move quick, and we had the advantage. So using a software as a service like VTEX basically allowed us to launch our first business in a month, and then follow up countries in 2 weeks after that, depending on the needs and capabilities that each country had. We started on the web first because it was the lowest hanging fruit, then launched mobile apps on top of that.
Got it. Maybe for the audience, what were the the top couple of learnings for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. So
sorry, I didn't prompt you with that. It wasn't in the script.
Yeah, the international career, like launching a new business, is very different from launching an established one. So luckily we had a lot of learnings from previously launching Zay Delivery. We could say, like as far as shopping experience, and of course, using like templates that VTEX provides, like best in class e-commerce experience. So we know how to create a user experience that we can then copy and paste into other markets. I think the learnings were more on the business side of like approaching a new market is a different experience. You have to Brazil and that consumer and that market and what they need. Like for them, 30-minute delivery might be a very high value proposition, but in other countries, we might not be able to do it in 30 minutes. We might take 60 minutes, but that's fine for that consumer. Another big learning for us was the cost and how we actually run the business. So we started out in Brazil deploying with third parties because we didn't have a network of locations to deliver from, delivery men. Whereas in Mexico, we'll talk about this a little more later, we have our own retail network of 10,000 retail locations. And so there we were able to leverage those and actually get like a speed to market from those, and there was a lot of learning in being able to see, how do we reuse what we have versus working with a third party. And another learning I mentioned before was dark stores. So if you're not familiar with a dark store, it's like a dark kitchen. Like in New York, there's restaurants you can order from. They'll deliver to you, but you can't actually go there. It's like, they've rented a location, maybe looks something like this on the inside with some they have a kitchen set up and they'll just deliver it right to you. So same thing with our dark stores. We have we use AI to see what's demand in certain areas, what's the best location to place a dark store, either to expand or supplement the existing business, and then we set up a warehouse and deliver directly from there.
Got it. And you guys were experimenting with a lot of new business models in a lot of new countries. How is it working with us? Were we able to keep up with you?
Yeah, it's a good question. We were talking about this before the talk. We have set up over 30 different e-commerce businesses in the past 6 years at AB InBev, and really done a lot of testing to see what works, what doesn't work. Of course, we had more than that. We've closed at least a dozen businesses that we had started. And in order to do that, we work at an incredibly high pace. All of our tech teams and product teams deliver code on a daily basis. So we're constantly iterating, evolving, adding features. And we expected that from any of our partners that we come in with. So with VTEX, I think we expected it to be quick, but it kept up with our expectations, I'll say. We thought potentially it would take a little bit longer, to get the designs completed, to get the platform configured and set up. But no, we were able to, set up within a few weeks and launch the market as we expected. So that's one thing that was a very nice surprise.
And I would say it was also a surprise for us because, quite candidly, normally when we're working with companies of the size of AB InBev, and they talk about wanting to go quick, in big company land, going quick is 3 months or 6 months, and I think you pushed us a lot to really keep up with you. You had touched on another maybe non-traditional retail model that you've grown in Mexico. Can maybe you share a few details on that?
Yeah, so our direct-to-consumer business, of course, includes our online stores. You can go, browse for beers, have them shipped to you. It includes our courier model. I was just talking about was a delivery, cold beer in 30 minutes. And it also includes our retail footprint. We have 14,000 retail locations, with 10,000 of those being Modelorama in Mexico. And that was another place we were looking for a solution to help us basically digitalize that business. We have, Mexico's a very different market from the U.S. Something like 95% of transactions happen with cash, not credit there. And so the digital ecosystem was very underdeveloped. We had all these retail locations that basically you can walk in with cash and buy a product and walk out. So we've been over the past couple of years digitalizing that, building out a POS ecosystem so we can have, someone goes into the store, you can do all sorts of things now. You can top up your mobile phone, you can get loyalty points within the store. So in building that POS ecosystem, we were looking for a partner that could help build basically the order management system, the OMS, so we don't have to manage, building APIs for products, for orders, for user management. So while we build the core technology that's unique to us, which is our POS and services our network, we use VTEX integrated through the API basically to power all those other capabilities, inventory management, pricing across regions, these kind of things.
And I would say, even for us, that was a surprise use case. It wasn't, I think you guys really pushed us to, unbox all of the capabilities inside our platform and allow you to pick and choose the microservices you wanted. Was there anything surprising to you as you built out this POS and, told us you were going to roll it out to 10,000 stores?
I would say there was nothing surprising in that, but one thing that was very surprising was the just how versatile the VTEX platform is. We've, as I mentioned, used it for courier. We have 7 businesses, 7 different countries, different languages, currencies, and so on VTEX. We have our retail footprint, which is using our POS system, order management, product management, inventory management, and so on. And then we also, during the pandemic, it was one of our seed businesses, we call them, trying something new, was a digital menu business, which we also use VTEX for, where basically, consumers could not just go to our own brew pubs, restaurants, and order products, but also we worked with third parties that were not our own to offer digital menus, which allowed us to do product placement and have more deep relationships with our other B2B businesses, or even ones that weren't our businesses, but we just wanted a new connection with them. And yeah, I was just surprised at how versatile the VTEX platform was. Like, if you wanted for e-commerce, it worked. If you wanted for courier delivery, it worked. If you wanted for digital menu, it worked. And again, with a new business, something like that digital menu, it's something we needed to do in a matter of weeks and show constant iteration, results, see is this going to go somewhere or not. And that's something we were able to do very quickly on VTEX.
And I think I would admit that you have proven that our customers are more creative than we are, because I don't think we would have naturally thought that you could take what we do and make it fit to all of these use cases. I think digital menu, I think you're maybe underselling the value that you are trying to deliver. So, 2 years ago when the pandemic started, if you were a restaurant or a bar and you wanted to reach the end customer, you had to either work with a Postmates or a Grubhub or a takeaway, and they would literally take away 30% of the sale, which makes it incredibly hard if you're a restaurant to survive. So what was the digital menu idea, and how were you trying to support your end customer?
Yeah, it was exactly that. As I talked a little bit about before, we're always looking for use cases we can add value to our customers, or our consumers. Consumers being the end consumer, customers being our B2B business partners. So with the pandemic, as you said, we saw, customers needed a solution to offer menus. Consumers didn't want to, touch menu. They want contactless solutions, as you see a lot of nowadays. So especially in Latin America, where it's not as digitally savvy, these kind of solutions are not as prevalent. We saw a huge opportunity to go to the market with existing partners, new partners, and sell a capability that allowed them to, not just show a menu digitally, but also offer promotions, partner with us on promotions, these kind of things. So, that mindset around that has helped us be successful. And I'd say, all of our partners, VTEX, and another big one is AWS for us, of course. And building all of this, we have custom capabilities, custom code, that integrations between VTEX and POS systems, VTEX and our own and others, platforms. And AWS allows us to very easily connect these systems together and make integrations that help us to create this value that I'm talking about. So I would say our group, AWS, VTEX, we all have this mindset of like, what consumer or customer problem are you really solving, and how do you look at that, iterate on that, and continue to build businesses through new products that are adding value in that way.
Right. And I don't know if we've told you about our new product, which we call convenience commerce, which, again, you had mentioned that there's maybe some parts of Latin America where they are underdeveloped from a digital ecosystem footprint. I would also argue there's other parts of Latin America where the customer experience is far better than what we get here in the US. So, for example, if you're a supermarket customer in Brazil or Mexico or Colombia, many of our customers are now just using WhatsApp, and they basically, on WhatsApp, drop their delivery. They drop their groceries, and on the other end, the grocery store, the tienda replies and says, "When do you want it?" And they have all of the delivery information, the billing information, and you're not going online, you're not building this big menu and then scheduling something for weeks later. How do you feel about that and bringing that kind of WhatsApp-like experience to ordering beer and beverages? And
Yeah, good question. And that's something we experimented with. We very early on learned that WhatsApp actually doesn't let us sell beer directly through them, but that the point
small detail.
Yeah, the point still applies of the conversational commerce. That's a big thing we've continued to test out in different markets, and especially as we're testing new markets. Like when we first started Courier in Mexico, we actually started it through exactly what you're describing. Like someone can just open a texting app and say, I'd like a 12-pack of Budweiser and deliver it to here at this time. And that was a good way to start the experience, get some demand, build on it before we're able to build a more robust experience like a mobile or app or a website. But now those conversational commerce pieces come in at different people like to engage in different ways. So having that as an option, we do it for support, we do it for loyalty, we do it for ordering. So different markets, and it's been interesting to see different markets have different ways of interacting that some click and some don't. And you really have to experiment and explore that. And I think conversational commerce is one that's still evolving, developing, and how that goes. And you see that, every day with your Google Assistant, Alexa, these kind of things, or it continues to evolve.
Right. So I think we have to give Facebook the feedback that we need WhatsApp to allow alcohol delivery.
Yeah, that would help us a lot.
Well, they keep pushing us to push WhatsApp. So I think we only have a minute or two left. Are there any questions in the audience? For Franz, please.
Just something you just talked about, the WhatsApp app. 50% of those users are underage. They're not really supposed to be your demographic. How are you going to mitigate the risk of selling to them, and what types of identification will you collect that's really reliable?
Yeah.
Somebody like me as a parent might think about this and use my business like that.
Agreed. Yeah, so the question was an app like WhatsApp, a lot of underage users potentially could come in and use that. So that's one thing, our company is very strong at, and legal teams review endless number of times before we launch anything, is making sure that of course, anytime we deliver, like the courier model I was talking about, as soon as a delivery person arrives, they're going to check the age of the person. You can't, anyone could order, but you cannot get alcohol delivered to you without checking an ID. And of course, there's many things we do from a technology point of view, from age gating. We're even looking at some cool things in our retail stores, like can you use AI to, identify people's age in a, anonymous way. So there's there's things we're doing now, very practical to follow the law and not make sure it never happens, but also like always things we're exploring to see, can we be doing it better? Thank you.
Yeah, and I would also say Facebook is actually a great partner. They've been working with us a lot on the back end to create new means of both age verification, billing information, scheduling. All of those things are also things that they really want to support because, they're growing Facebook in the marketplace, and they understand for commerce to be safe and effective, they have to take care of those types of risks. Other questions? Okay. Okay, well, thank you all for coming. Thank you, friends.
Thank you
for participating.
Yeah, thanks.